Hey all, here we are in the next chapter of Judy Blume and the Tale of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Okay, thank you for watching the first one and staying with me and still staying with these videos online. I get it. I wish I could be here in person reading to you guys on the couch or on the pillows like the old days. But hey, it's the best I got, so I'm gonna do it right here. So this next chapter is called Mr. and Mrs. Juicio. Again, Mr. and Mrs. Juicio. Go ahead and try to make a quick prediction to yourself, to the person next to you, brother, sister. Quick prediction about what this chapter is going to be about. Again, it's called Mr. and Mrs. Juicio. Got that prediction. All right, here we go. Chapter 2. One night, my father came home from the office all excited. He told us Mr. and Mrs. Yarby were coming to New York. He's the president of the Juicio Company. He lives in Chicago. I wonder if he'd bring my father another crate of Juicio. My father said he invited Mr. and Mrs. Yarby to stay with us. My mother wanted to know why they couldn't just stay in a hotel like most people who come to New York. My father said they could, but he didn't want them to. He thought it'd be more comfortable staying with us. But she fixed up Fudge's bedroom for our guests. She put fancy sheets, brand new blankets on the bed. There's a sofa that opens up into a bed at night. It's in Fudge's room because that used to be our den. Before he was born, we all watched TV there. My mother moved Fudge's crib into my room. He's going to get a regular bed when he's 3. My mother says, there's a lot of reasons I don't like to sleep in the same room as Fudge, but I found out that 2 months ago when my bedroom was being painted. I had to sleep in Fudge's room for 3 nights because the paint smell was making me cough. For one thing, he talks in his sleep. Blah, 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 blah. If a person didn't know any better, a person could get scared. Another thing is he makes all these slurping noises. It's true that I like. It's true that I like to hear it when I'm awake, but when I'm trying to fall asleep, I just like it to be quiet. When I complained about having to sleep with Fudge, my mother said, "It's just for 2 nights, Peter. I'll sleep in the living room," I suggested, "on the sofa or even a chair." "No," my mother said, "you will sleep in your bed, in your own bed." There was no point arguing with Mom. She spent the day in the kitchen. She really cooked up a storm. She used so many pots and pans that Fudge didn't have any left to bang together, and that's one of his favorite things to do. Right after lunch, my mother opened up the dinner table. We don't have a separate dining room. When we have company over for dinner, we eat in one end of the living room. When Mom finished setting the table, she put a silver bowl filled with flowers right in the middle. I said, "Hey, Mom, it looks like you're expecting the president or something." "That's very funny, Peter," my mother answered. Sometimes my mother laughs like crazy at my jokes. Other times she just pretends not to get them. And then there are times when I know she gets them, but she just doesn't like them. I went to Jimmy Fargo's for the afternoon. I came home at 4 o'clock. I found my mother standing over the dinner table mumbling. Fudge was on the other floor playing with my father's socks. I'm not sure why he likes socks so much, but if you give him a pair, he'll play with them for an hour. I said, "Hi, Mom, I'm home. I'm missing 2 flowers." I don't know how she noticed that 2 flowers were missing from her silver bowl, but because there were at least a dozen of them there. But sure enough, when I checked, 2 stems were with nothing on them were left. "Don't look at me, Mom," I said. What would I do with 2 measly flowers? So we both looked at Fudge. "Did you take Mommy's flowers?" "No take," Fudge said, and he was chewing on something. "What's in your mouth?" Fudge didn't answer. "Show Mommy." "No show." "Oh yes." My mother picked him up and forced his mouth open. She fished out a rose petal. "What'd you do with Mommy's flowers?" She raised her voice. Fudge laughed. "Tell Mommy." "Yum, yum, yummy." "Oh no." Rushing to the telephone, she did. She called Dr. Cone. She told him that Fudge ate 2 flowers. Dr. Cone must have asked what kind, because then my mother said roses. There was a long pause when my mother listened to whatever Dr. Cone had to say. "No more flowers," she told Fudge. "Fudge, you understand?" "No more." "No more, no more, no more." My mother gave him a spoonful of peppermint-flavored medicine. Leave it to my brother to eat flowers. I wonder how they tasted. Maybe they're delicious. I don't know because I've never had one. I decided to find out. I picked off 1 petal from a pink rose. I put it in my mouth and tried to chew it. But I couldn't do it. It tasted awful. I spit it in the garbage. Well, at least I knew I wasn't missing anything. Fudge ate his supper in the kitchen before our company arrived. Fudge is going to be a good boy tonight. Very good for Daddy's friends, Mommy said. Good, I'm a good boy. That's right, my mother told him. My mother was dressed up by the time my father got home from the Arby's. You never have guessed that Mom spent most of the day in the kitchen. You also never guessed that Fudge ate 2 flowers. He was feeling fine. He even smelled nice, like baby powder. Mrs. Yarby picked him up right away. I knew she would. She looked like her grandmother. That type that always makes a big deal about Fudge. She walked in the living room, cuddling him. Isn't he just the cutest boy? Mrs. Yarby said. I just love babies. She gave him a big kiss. My father arrived, carried the Yarby suitcase into Fudge's room. When he came back, he introduced me to our company. This is our oldest son, Peter. I'm 9. I'm in 4th grade, I told him. Oh, how do you do, Peter? Mrs. Yarby gave me a nod. She was still busy with Fudge. I have a surprise for this little boy. It's in the suitcase. Should I go get it? Yes, Fudge shouted. Yes, go get it. Mrs. Yarby laughed as it was the best joke she had ever heard. I'll be right back, she told Fudge. She put him down and ran off to find her suitcase. She came back carrying a present tied up with a red ribbon. Ooh, Fudge cried, opening his eyes wide. Goody, 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 and he clapped his hands. Mrs. Yarby helped him unwrap his surprise. It was a wind-up train that made a lot of noise. Every time it bumped into something, it turned around and went the other way. Fudge liked it a lot. He likes anything that's noisy. That's a nice train, I said. Oh, I have something for you, too. Peter, I reminded her. My name is Peter. Yes, well, I'll go get it. Mrs. Yarby left the room again. This time she came back with a flat package. It was wrapped up in a red ribbon and all. She handed it to me. Fudge stopped playing with his train long enough to come over and see what I got. I took off the paper very carefully in case my mother wanted to share it, and it was... I'll stop there, guys. This is actually a long chapter, so we're actually not going to find out what present he got, even though I know we love finding out presents. But I'm going to read the rest on the next one, okay? So you got to keep watching if you want to know. So the questions will be on the Google Classroom, so I'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks.